What's goody, everybody? It's full-time trip. We're back in the building. Brentford 1, Arsenal 1 at the G-Tech Stadium in West London. Just a really tiring game, man. A really tiring game. A lot of tiring patterns. Just tiring things that are unfortunate. Just tiring, man. But hope y'all are well despite that. Hope everything's going well with the week. Hope you guys have access to PlayStation, Nintendo Switches, books, walks, dogs, loved ones. Do something to calm your stress levels, man, because this is going to be a long back end of the season, and days like today don't make them any shorter, man. Just, again, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We can talk about it. We break the deadlock at 61 minutes in the second half with the Noni Madueke header at the back, going to the back stick, essentially, from a great cross from Nkapie. We get a breakthrough, but just so much was wrong with that game in terms of the application, the work, a lot of things. And Keane Lewis-Potter gets a really strong header, kind of exploiting Odegaard there in the second half, 10 minutes later, and then it's deadlock. But the story of the game was just, we were not up to the levels, and we were getting outworked, man. I want to try and break this up effectively and not be in y'all ears too long for this video, because I got to go eat. I got to go forget this game happened as soon as possible and try and do this 4 things video, which is going to be, another happy day to do that. But I want to break this video up into 3 pieces. 1, credit to the opposition. 2, what we missed. And 3, what the team didn't bring. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But first and foremost, credit to Brentford. Credit goes to Brentford, man. They know how to play their game, and they're not gonna budge for anybody, man. They're not gonna budge. They've come into really great form. Keith Andrews has kept the ship steady and firing in many regards throughout this season. So huge credit to Keith Andrews, huge credit to this team. They're tough. They're tough to beat, man. They're physical. They're not going to give you space. They're not going to. And at one time, I don't even know if I said that. I might have muted my mic accidentally. I said they're not going to let you breathe to run that back. But it's just their physical application is so strong, and it's hard. They're a hard side to break down. They're a hard side to contend with. They're a hard side to go tit for tat with, because they have so many ways they can hurt you. Dang, the set piece war. They felt like nuclear explosive. I watched the last Mission Impossible movie again last night, and it felt like the nukes were just turning on. The lights were turning on, and it was about to get spooky, bro. We were trying to go tit for tat on set pieces, throw-ins, all that stuff. Everything is just so dangerous with them, man. I can only give credit for how well organized they are, how well they were in the duels, how dogged they were in defense, how they were trying to make things happen from an individual standpoint to a collective. They're a good team. They're a good team. I think they're in 8th place. I think they're a point ahead of people at this stage now on the table. They're 7th on 40 points. Actually, they have some daylight to Everton. They're in the top 8 places. They can get European football. 2 off of Liverpool, 4 off of 5th place Chelsea, 5 off of Man United. Listen, they're a good team. They're a good team. And there are other teams that have faced them that have barely scraped out and gotten something, gotten out alive against these guys. So credit to Brentford, man. They punched us in the mouth, and it was hard for us to find footing. So I cannot put that forward enough. I think with as much as the media attention is obviously going to be on Arsenal and their failings to try and get through in this fixture, you got to give credit to Brentford. They're a really damn good team in damn good form, and they're making things happen. So clap it up to them. Clap it up to them. Second piece, what we were missing. We obviously in times like this, in situations like this, in games like this, the physical aerial connectors that we have in Mikel Merino and Kai Havertz were obviously missing from this game. And that's kind of the first half of this puzzle in this section I want to talk about. Not having somebody that can, again, connect as well with Gyökeres, can be another focal point in collecting the ball high, can be, again, hopefully a technical linchpin in some ways to at least hold the ball down, or at least get it in space to move it around, to control the ball, get their foot on a little bit more when other players aren't going to do that. Mikel Merino has shown the propensity to do that. Havertz has shown the propensity to move around and find the right space and find the right passes. Not so much as Merino, but that level of gaining control and keeping it lies a lot in those two, especially in physical fixtures like this. The fact that they're both not here sucks. because that made our day much more difficult in terms of the game plans that we need to try and execute against teams like this and how Arteta wants to play. There. The other half of the equation that I do want to mention really briefly is William Saliba, out with illness, but again, you could feel not necessarily, I honestly, in a lot of cases from a defensive standpoint too, because Igor Thiago was getting some things together. From a recovery standpoint, Mosquera did well to hold himself down, but from a prevention standpoint, making things not even appear, we missed William Saliba from a defensive perspective. And from an offensive perspective, the build-up, the responsibility he takes to move around players, to shuttle a few yards here and there, to make these little passes, to upset the shape in little ways so everybody else can get into their typical flow and find opportunities. That is such an understated part of his game, an understated part of our system, and I think people already know this, how important he is, how good he is, how composed he is when it comes to helping us build out from the back and getting our foot on the ball and controlling things when we need to. So with those three players out, it made this fixture a lot more difficult. Again, Saliba's going to be an illness, so hopefully he's back for the the Wolves game, and we can just carry on. Do not even put him in that Wigan game. I'll be very honest. Just figure it out with somebody else. Just we need to rotate and just have that thing as best possible. Hopefully Saliba's ready for that game there, but I think without Havertz, without Marino, without Saliba, it was a much more difficult game. And what we didn't bring in terms of what the players we had with us available and what wasn't showing up. First, I would like to point out the level of just technical quality to put their foot on the ball. It just felt like it wasn't there, to actually, when people are pressing, when Brentford are pressing, like the times of seasons past, we're able to zip the ball across a few people's. Again, it's a different outfit to when Xhaka and Zinchenko were here, but still, to a certain extent, we have to be able to show that side. I've lauded Arsenal. I've gone on and praised Arsenal heavily about how we're so adaptable, how we can become that Swiss Army knife. One thing that has, I would say, withered a little bit during the recent seasons is the absolute consistency with technical quality and build-up. How consistent can we be? How poised can we be? Just understanding how to play that way. And I feel like it's a muscle that we haven't used as often or as intently when the presses come, because people might block up in the mid blocks or whatever. We'll have clear space to do it. The technical levels with the players missing, but mostly with the players on the pitch, I'm disappointed in, just loose balls, not being able to capture, things like that, not being able to put your foot on the ball and really just get a rhythm going when Brentford are pressing. When Brentford are trying to make things happen, again, force them to sit back a little bit and think twice about where they're going. That technical level just wasn't there, and I needed to rise up, because just as much as we need the physical side, which I've praised Arsenal about, of gaining that physical side, we need to have the technical assurance side of the house as well. We need to have that down pack to assess situations in many different situations as effectively as possible. That's where I'm at. So that's one thing. Two, we brought a level of physical grit. We just didn't bring enough to outlast Brentford. They just had a lot, man. They had a lot for us, and we just could not keep up with the dueling, with trying to win aerial balls and second balls and all stuff like that. The application was bad from an effort standpoint. I think it was overcommitments in certain places and spots. That wasn't there as well. One thing I really want to highlight is, again, you might have heard it in the promo clip that I did, earlier or whatever. If you didn't, you can go check that out somewhere. I'll put a link to it. Many people call it the ability to scam. Simply, I call it the kick ball hard gene. And it's not necessarily about the ability to kick the ball hard. It is not about the ability to do that, because our squad has the capability to kick the ball hard. It is about the propensity to do that. It is about the tendency on where you do it, when you do it, how often you do it, how encouraged you are internally to do it. And that's what's consistently missing from games like this. We cannot scam any wins. We can't scam wins like United. We can't scam wins like Liverpool. We can't scam wins like City, because we don't have the people willing to put their foot through to certain things when it doesn't feel convenient. When it's not convenient, when there's, again, when you're when you're having a Declan Rice chance and the ball's in front of you, and do you pass off to Gyökeres, who's likely not ready for that touch, or do you try and take it upon yourself to foot something through? When you're Martinelli in the last second, do you try and lean your body first time and get it with your right foot and catch him off guard off timing? Do you try and wrap it around the left? Do you go around the keeper? Or do you take a touch, give Cameron Kelleher the most amount of time to come through and make a stop, and then try and take a shot? These are the things that I'm talking about. Can you up the propensity to shoot? The propensity to take a shot when things are inopportune, when things seem inopportune, when it's not according to the systematic way that you might approach things, when you don't get clear-cut chances. In cagey games like this, where Brentford are gonna make life difficult, you have to take a chance and snap at those things. You have to. It's not in the sense they weren't taking the chances. Again, they weren't taking them as often. They weren't showing the propensity to take those chances often. And more often than not, they were taking extra touches. They were trying to corral it. They were trying to put things on a silver platter in a dogfight. We're in a pig pen right now. There's no room to put things on a silver platter when we're in a pig pen, bro. Just take it with your hands. Eat. That's what I'm on. And it's frustrating to see it time and time again where they try to line things up perfectly in a game that is built for imperfect situations and imperfect just application. Nothing's going to be 100%, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be ragged. It's going to be dogged. It's going to be determined. And we have to do what we have to do to will those moments through. Impose your will in those moments. Don't make anything perfect and try and skate it in. Impose the will of trying to make things happen despite how the picture may look when you're on the ball. That's one thing that I continue to harp on, and I will always harp on as long as I see the gap in propensity to make those things happen. That's the biggest thing for me. Again, they can harp on all the individuals and we can harp on that. Again, in my mind, we're at a kind of a tough spot where I don't know if the substitutions even helped anything like that. I think Odegaard did help a little bit when he came on, but then he just gets moshed on that goal, goes down, and he just kind of wilts. So that's not really a big help. I thought Gyökeres had a productive performance overall. I thought he had some good touches. I thought he battled well physically with the back line. I thought he gave some great passes in to make chances. But, you know, again, in a game where there's not going to be much service and the team's not providing much service, everything's under a microscope for one. But outside of that, I thought he did well. And then, I guess beyond that, Declan Rice just shuttling around trying to make things happen. But again, him being one of the culprits of the lack of propensity to put your foot through it, make a shot happen, make something happen. It's not there, you know? And I am still of the mindset that we are still going to win this league. I still hold my belief. The timeline right now is, again, Armageddon because we dropped points, because a lot of them are so shook. A lot of them don't know how to hold composure. A lot of them are just reacting because it's a tough situation. It's a tough loss where we could have gotten something. The little things that we can microanalyze that could have got us over the line, we didn't. And I'm not in any position to coach and commandeer and direct how people should feel. In my mind, I think we're still there. This is the toughest league that there probably has been in terms of English top flight, in my mind, especially of the past 10 years, because everybody is so dogged. Nothing is guaranteed for sure in this game. Literally nothing is guaranteed. I can't even say Wolves, because we had to escape Wolves with 2 own goals. Wolves were still pulling things out of a hat against people. You know, again, Man United went there expecting things to happen. They drew. Like, anything can happen to anybody on any given day in this league. So that's why I'm not losing my mind. Because at the same time, we have to deal with tough schedules and things that are happening. City do as well. Villa do as well. There's a lot to be had from that respect. But what I can say is we have to impose our will. We have to. And I'm not saying from a dueling perspective, because you know what I'm saying, sometimes teams are just outmuscle us and outstrength us there. That's fine. But when you have the moments to punch things through, when you have the moments to take a chance, you have to take a chance. Not shy away from that responsibility. Do not shy away from the risk of making it happen. It might go wide, cool. It might go sailing off into Rosette, cool. Take the chance. Do not try and serve it up on a plate and make it perfect. You have to catch people off guard. You cannot be typical. You cannot, again, form and coalesce into creating the best picture possible. Because sometimes you got to draw ugly. Sometimes you got to draw rushed. Sometimes you got to make it happen, but you got to draw anyways. So that's where I'm at. We gotta draw. We gotta draw, for better or for worse, for pretty or for ugly, for quick or for slow and labored. We got to draw. That's where we're at. Hoping to see more from, again, Bukayo Saka, from Odegaard, from all these people into the games to come. We have to pick up maximum points from these next few games, in my opinion. Obviously, the narrative is going to be very, very hellacious this week. Going into next, obviously. However, still, I'm still the mind state of, if we weather this storm, going through and up to the Carabao Cup final, because that's going to be probably one of the biggest storms we have outside of, UCL knockout rounds and whatnot. We need to hold our nerve. We need to find a way to impose our will all the way up through that Carabao Cup final, because I think this time is very critical for us. If we pick up maximum points, if we change our fortunes, turn the tide around, and be in good form, be in a real place of understanding when it comes to making things happen. From a lineup perspective, do we have the wherewithal to make bold choices in terms of putting Eze on the wing? I think I'm still an advocate for putting Eze on the wing and getting more output from that position than we've had consistently in these tight marginal games. Do we have the wherewithal to make those things happen? We'll see. I believe in us, but now it's up to show up and prove, because the narratives aren't going to get any lighter. The pressure's not going to get any lighter. This is something that we should revel in one side, but some people are going to be too shook to understand that, and some people are going to, rightfully so, question what the hell are we doing, because of the continual performances dropped, and and just how we pick up form from here with everything going on. I believe they'll do it. I believe Arsenal will. It's just the path to it. Right now, we got to find a way to cut through the bushes, because it's hazy right now. Tough. It's packed. And days like this only solidify the fact that we're a long way out to the end of the road. But we got to stick together. Got to do what we got to do. And keep picking up points, man. We have to pick up our point. Lucky to pick this one up today, to be very honest. But we got to do better in taking our moments. Every little one. Imposing our will. Imposing our will. Imposing our will. Let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section below, y'all. A lot to be discussed, honestly. I know people are losing their minds over this. This is going to be a little bit late, thankfully so. And I also have to eat dinner. I've been skipping dinners like crazy late, bro. But this is just, I just want to yap about Arsenal, even though they hurt my mental so much. Let me know in the comment section below. And until next week, where we have Wolves, which will probably be another late video for me, because, man, I'm trying to dodge my 9 to 5 like crazy. I'll be honest, man. I'll be honest. But my name is Full Time Trip. That is all the time that I got. And until next time, man, hold your nerve. COYG. We keep it pushing, man. Love y'all. Peace.